am Cheryl Turner, president of the Gate City Bar Association. It's the oldest association of African American attorneys in the state of Georgia. And I'm so happy to be here with you all today. It just brings me great joy. I'm gonna give her a clap. To see you. I did not go to HBCU. I'm a native of Atlanta. If anybody's from Atlanta, I went to Mays High School, from the Squats. And like Janet, I won't say that I'm like Janet in the sense that I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm like Janet in the sense that I was determined to be here. Now, when I went to law school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I spent some time working in nonprofits before I went to law school. I was actually in the AmeriCorps program that Dean referenced. And when I went to law school, I went to get a set of skills. That means absolutely nothing, right? It was just a degree to go and get, but the reason why I went was because it fulfilled my desire to be of service, like Professor Washington talked about. And so I am a devoted follower of Charles Hamilton Houston. I am a dedicated social engineer, and I want to applaud you for wanting to go to law school, particularly in this day and age, not because there is so much going on that we need you. We do need you, absolutely. We need black lawyers to be prosecutors. We need black lawyers to be corporate attorneys. We need black lawyers to be tax attorneys. We need black lawyers, period. But we also need that social engineer who's that person who will be of service to keep the door open for the folks coming behind them. The dean talked about the fact that there was a downturn in the economy and that affected the number of people that apply to law school. Now, my track to go to law school and what I did afterwards is a little non-traditional. So I went to Emory Law School like Dion. Also went to Emory undergrad. Both were fine experiences. When I left, I worked for a big law firm, one of the biggest firms in Atlanta. And this is what everybody told me I should want to do. Made a good salary, a real good salary, but I hated it. Now, when I talked to people who knew me as a law student, I was a summer clerk, I said, well, why didn't y'all tell me what it was really going to be like? And they said, you wouldn't have listened. Now that's a little offensive because I feel like I do listen to people, but they say that I don't. But it is important for you to be open to having different experiences. So I started this big law firm, got there and decided it was not for me. For 3 years, I decided I was determined to be a real estate attorney. That's all I wanted to do. I had different summer experiences. All I did was real estate attorney. Within 6 months, I knew that that was a mistake. And I did not know what to do initially. And finally, I decided, because I did not have a good purpose or reason for being there, that I was going to go back to nonprofits. So I went back to nonprofits, but having gone to law school, you will be forever changed. You will walk around always analyzing risk. You will see accidents that are about to happen. You would tell people a list of things they need to be concerned about that really a lot of times nobody wants to hear. But you will be forever changed because the way you think about life, about problems, about how to get things done will be forever changed. So I left. So this is 2 jobs I've left within 6 months, much to my family's concern. And I worked on a friend's political campaign. And he was running for city council at the time. And he's now the current Atlanta City Council president. It was just an experience that I wanted to have. I wanted to be of service. It was something new that I had not done before. And after I had that experience, one of my friends, we have a mutual friend, asked me to come work at their law firm. That law firm is the oldest African American law firm in the city of Atlanta. And at that law firm, instead of doing commercial real estate, which is what I did at the big law firm, I did residential real estate. And I loved it. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. Now, this was the stuff that wasn't supposed to be sexy. It was sort of churn and burn work. But the reason why I loved it was because every day I got to meet new people. I got to help them solve their problems. And I got to be a part of their life that was positive. They were buying a house. They were selling a house. They were buying an apartment complex. This was a big moment in their life, and I got to experience that every day. Now, while I was at Thomas Kennedy, the law firm got a phone call. and they needed somebody to go work at Coca-Cola. And they had this new contract, and so they were just bringing people in to go work at Coke. And the person that called actually knew me. She knew me from the big law firm. And she wanted me to come in specifically to work on this project. So I went to work on that project, and it turned into another project, into another project, and then I ended up getting a job at Coca-Cola. Now, getting a job at Coca-Cola had always been a dream of mine. It was on my list of things to do. I know a lot of you all have a list of goals and things that you want to do. I could not have planned my way to that opportunity. I had to remain open. I had to remain flexible. I had to remain humble enough to realize that even if I thought I made a mistake, I could course correct for it. So I went to Coke, did a good job, got a job at Coke, and after being at Coke for 11 some odd years, I decided that I was going to make a change. I had done everything that I had been there to do, worked on great projects, had great colleagues and friends, but I got another phone call, and this was from a friend who had worked with me at the nonprofit. And we had a mutual friend who was running for U.S. Senate, and they wanted me to come work on the campaign to help her win. Now, while I was working all these years in different capacities, I saved my money. I saved my money so that one day, if an opportunity came up that I wanted to take, I would be able to take it. So you hear people talk about having an emergency fund, right? Everybody's heard that. Once I saved my emergency fund, I kept saving my money, and I called it an opportunity fund. So when that opportunity came, I could make the decision to take it without concern about money. So I took the opportunity. I left my good paying corporate job, as my mother would say, and went to work on a campaign that had certainly state and local importance, but national importance as well. And it was the most important, almost life-changing experience for me. Not because my candidate won. If my candidate won, I wouldn't be talking to you today. My candidate also actually lost, but it was an opportunity to see how important it is for people to be a part of the process, to be a part of the system, particularly lawyers to be a part of the system, Black lawyers to be a part of the system, to help understand and have an impact on not just the community, right? Because we can all volunteer. We can feed the homeless, we can read to children, but be prepared to actually do the work that changes people's lives, that changes communities. And that's why I'm so excited to see you all here. When I was in law school, we did not have these types of opportunities. So I want to give you 3 words of advice before I sit down. 1, I want you to be encouraged. You can do this. It ain't rocket science. As much as people might tell you that, as daunting as it may seem at times, it's not rocket science. You can read, you can apply what you've learned, and you can do the work. So I encourage you to not only go to law school, but to excel. And I'll give you an example of why I know you can do it. When I applied to law school the first time, like I said, I went to Emory. I applied to Emory, and I did not get in. Now, I applied to a whole bunch of schools, but I didn't get in. And I was like, this does not happen. Doesn't happen to me. And so I called up there. I was like, y'all see a little more personalities. I was like, I don't really know what. Can y'all explain to me what happened? Did you have the right person? I said, no, we had the right person. And they were like, your problem was you waited to the last minute. When you applied, the slots were gone. Be encouraged, but also be timely. Get your application in. Spend the time you have to spend on it, getting it together. Let other people read it. Apply early, apply for scholarships, apply for grants, but be encouraged. You can do it. Now, the second time I applied, because of course I applied the first day they started receiving applications. It was a different process than y'all have now. But then I got in and everything was fine. But then I got to law school, and one of the things that I had to learn while being in law school was to be curious. You will have the opportunity to meet people and professors who do a wide variety of things that you've never even thought of. Some of you here might be here because you want to be a litigator. You want to be in front of the courtroom. Some of you may be here because you want to make a lot of money. Some of you want to be here because you want to dress nice. Whatever the reason is, when you get to when you get to law school, take advantage of the opportunity to be curious and learn as much as you can. Like I said, I thought I wanted to be a real estate attorney all the time that I was in law school. I did not explore other things. Now, what I know I should have done was done a lot more social justice work, learn how to actually try a case, but I did not take advantage of that opportunity, so I encourage you to be open and take advantage of every opportunity that you can while you're in law school, and that's no matter where you go. The third one that I'll give you, and you'll hear this, you've heard people talk about it already, is to be open. Be open, be open, be open. Now, while this summit is for HBCU students, when you go to college, when you go to law school, you will likely be one of just a handful of students, unless you go to Howard. You'll be likely to be a handful, or Southern. You'll be one of a handful of students, and that's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It doesn't mean you should be scared. It doesn't mean things are not going to happen or are going to happen to you. Be open. Meet the people in your classrooms. Don't just hang together. When I was in law school, all black students stuck together, right? And to this day, everybody knows each other. I'll tell you all a funny story, so I'll give you an example of what not to do. So we talk about being the person, when the professor comes in and they're going to call on somebody in the class. We had a really hard case that we had to read. I read the case, I was prepared, but the night before, I had a slight argument with my boyfriend. That's another to me. Don't really be real involved with anybody. Focus on your school. Focus on your schoolwork. So the next day, I was in class. I felt like I was prepared, but I really didn't feel like being bothered. That is not an option in law school. So the professor comes in, and everybody's averting their eyes and looking down. He says, "Ms. Turner, will you present the case?" To which I said, "I am not in the right frame of mind." Now, it was like an out-of-body experience, because I was like, who said that? But it was me. And so I just sort of sat there. So he went to the next person to my left, who was another black student, who was equally as stunned, and she couldn't present the case. So then he goes to the third person, who was also a black student, because we all sat together, and she was stunned, so she couldn't present the case. So in one fell flip remark, I failed the whole race. To this day, everybody still talks about that. We can go to dinner and we can get all the way through dinner, and at some point in the dinner, that's going to come up. And that's okay, because I use it as an example of trying to make sure that you remain encouraged, you remain curious, you remain open, but you remain yourself, you remain human, you remain humble. You will get some stuff right, you will get some stuff wrong. But you can always recover. You are where you are supposed to be. We are excited and thrilled that you are here. We look forward to you applying to school, passing the bar, and becoming a member of the legal community. Thank you so much for having me here, and I wish you the best of luck.